Charles Capon in his Baroque jazz trio from 1970. So yes, I played that at 45 because I love playing it at both speeds in this record. But this is the correct speed. It's better to listen to that 33 when the wind instrument comes in. Charles Capon. Charles Capon is a cello player from northern France, and then he came to Paris and was all over the place. He won several awards during his academic years, learning different instruments and music theory, music writing. But I mean, the 60s, yeah, they take the academia out of you, don't they? So this is kind of fusion jazz record in a way. Charles Capon, what's interesting with him is that he is a jazz musician, but he's always interested in the instruments that are less common in jazz. his instrument of choice is the cello, but he also loves the accordion, um, the clarinet, and other instruments that are kind of on the margins of all this. Oh, you do, Eddie. So you probably own the record on Souffle Continu. This is on Sarava, which is one of the classiest French labels of the 70s, 60s, 70s. I would say it's in the top 5 with Futura, Palm, I forget the others right now, but yeah, this is one of these labels that were really free in the truest sense and really trying to capture zeitgeist, the spirit of the time. There was lots of music going on in France, as in everywhere, I guess. I know, but so this is a project that is probably some of the funkiest stuff from Jean-Charles Capon. So there's this LP and a 7-inch. Maybe the 7-inch was included in the reissue Eddie has. This 7-inch is it's pure funk music, even if it's kind of on the left field side of funk. It is. So Jean-Charles Capon, he was part of the scene. Basically, he played with everyone in the French jazz, avant-jazz, spiritual jazz, or modern jazz scene. He was quite in demand, I guess, also because he played instruments where there wasn't that much competition. Yeah. So this is, I think this is how I got introduced to him, and it's not my favorite record of his by far. It's kind of almost my least favorite one of his, but it's a great album nonetheless. It's it's these records that even in France they're not common and quite expensive, but they were ignored for the longest time outside of France, and even in France you'd have to be kind of in the know. This is so good. Oh, Daniel Valencian did the recording of this. Daniel Valencian is a very interesting musician as well. Be patient, be patient. I got about 7-8 records of his that I need to play, survey, and play. But this is very cool how you can hear the flute and the cello playing kind of on top of it all, but going freaky. The next record is going to be on Palm Record. I don't have the cover art because I don't have the cover, the original one, because I found it that way, which made it cheaper. At one point in the early 2000s, you could find some Palm records without the cover. There was some stock copies of these, more or less. And yeah, we're going to listen to David S. Ware featuring Jean-Charles Capon. Especially on the track we're going to listen to, Blues for Change, on From Silence to Music. French jazz record. This is from, I believe, 72, maybe, something like that. Maybe a little later, actually. Probably later, yeah. It features also a Duke Ellington cover of Prelude to a Kiss. But we're going to listen to the original composition of David S. Ware with Jean-Charles Capon. Adjusting. This is more on the free side of things, but not completely. Hey, jazz bums. David S. Ware is an American horn player and has a lot of the best jazz musicians from the US in the 70s. They were in France. A lot of the Philly scene, like Bayard Lancaster, Ken Jamal, yeah, and of course Steve Lacy, but that's a whole completely different story. The lineup is actually Jean-Charles Capon and David S. Ware. Jean-Charles Capon playing bass and then cello, because Jean-Charles Capon's father was a great bass player in the 40s, 50s, and he got trained at that instrument as well. He was a multi-instrumentist, as we'll discover soon. So yeah, the blues is here, but for how long? I believe that record hasn't yet been reissued, so that's the only pressing that exists of it. If I haven't missed anything. By the way, why Jean-Charles Capon? Why not? I just felt like listening to some music and sharing it with you guys and girls. And I felt like Jean-Charles Capon today, so I thought, like, I get some records of his. There it comes. Yeah, jazz bumps, but Sam Records is more on the hard bop stuff. Hard bop, post bop, modern jazz. But the in my opinion, the greatest era of French jazz is like 63 or 64 to 76, 75. And then there's also great stuff after that. And before that, but yeah. Jeffrey. Goose. You can hear they're having fun. Seb, yes, Joshko Sefer, yeah, I have some. The title of this is From Silence to Music, David S. Ware, W-A-R-E. Next is going to be an album that was curated for French jazz enthusiasts and collectors. Now it's been reissued. This is the famous Malagasy, Jeff Gilson. Jeff Gilson is the guy who behind the Palm label and one of probably the 5 most important figures of French jazz. This album was recorded in 1968 when Jeff Gilson and his band were touring Africa and Madagascar. And because of the events of May 1968, the riots, the uprising of 1968, there was no plane back to France from Madagascar, so they were stuck there for quite some time. And they decided to play with the local musicians, hence Malagasy, featuring local musicians and some tracks with Charles Capon, so even a composition by him, and an amazing version of The Creator Has a Master Plan by Pharoah Sanders. For people who are into the record collector lore, this was it's pretty cool because this was released on Lumen Records, which has no releases because they put a sticker here of Palm, the Palm logo, because this became the first Palm #1. The initial copies of this had as well on the record the Palm logo. It's a sticker over the old logo. So that's when you know you got the original, if there's any doubt. And this copy is in great shape. I got this, I don't know, 25 years ago. Even back then it was difficult to get. But this is going to be a little bit different from that. But there will be some crazy stuff soon. This is the track by Charles Capon. There's a box set of 4 LPs because yes, please. I believe there's 2 different reissues of it. There's one on Jazzman and one on Souffle Continu. This is track 1. So this was recorded in Madagascar in '68. Actually, no, a few tracks I think were recorded also in France after the fact. That he met the musicians there. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I love this theme. So on this Capon, he plays bass, obviously, as you can hear, and he's a beast. This is probably one of the jazz records, yeah, it's that I love the most. Certainly one of that I've listened to, the part of the most listened to. Now, the second release on Palm. Jean-Luc Ponty, Jean-Charles Capon, Gilbert Ware, Lionel Magal, and Jeff Gilson. Live at the the Colombe MJC. MJC is Maison de la Jeunesse et de la Culture, House of Youth and Culture. Most cities in France of a certain scale, like over 10,000 people, had one like that, which was like a communal associative building where there was activities for youth to learn or to just participate. Could be games, could be dancing, could be art, it could be just anything. And you were dependent on the quality of the people who lived around and dedicated time to this. I remember I had one where I lived, and I spent a lot of time there. I learned to draw there. I played lots of role-playing games, RPGs, and other stuff. So this is November 1968. This is when the Jeff Gilson band came back from Madagascar. And this is a track called Tears for Billy. Obviously, Billie Holiday. All the themes are from Jeff Gilson, but here you can hear Charles Capon on cello this time. So it's a live recording, probably like a mic, one source, maybe two sources. It's not the most professional recording, but it is a great record. There's a series of 4 records, I believe. No, I'm confused. But yeah, you have Jean-Luc Ponty on violin as well. His name is first on the bill because back then he was the biggest name. He has some commercial success. He has a few records on disc. Pierre Cardin, the fashion designer, who had also a label which released quite a few great records. Yeah, 70s music scene in France, there was lots of patrons of the arts who had vanity labels that put out some great stuff. Me too, Auguste, me too. So this is more classic, but very probably, yeah. The MGCs could be there were thousands of MGCs in France. There's probably still some. It became less popular. I wouldn't say it was ever really popular, but it was an institution of French culture, a place of culture for France. Cheap. Now the next one is also on Palm, featuring Jean-Charles Capon, Laurence Butcher Morris, Serge Raourerson from Madagascar, all of the band, and Philippe Maté, who did a record with Philippe Valencian that is amazing. This is from 1976. Studio recording, 8 channel, so very interesting record. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Yeah, they're friends of mine. Why do I play music from my speakers? Because I have no other means to do so. If you guys want to pay for a better system for me. No, but seriously, yeah, that's because I don't have any other system. Hope it's good enough to get an idea of something you might like, and then you can go and look it up online if it exists on YouTube or anywhere. So this is a composition by Charles Capon as well. The one track, Three Grows. I don't know. I only have originals. These guys are my friends. They used to work in a secondhand record store in the 90s where I used to go all the time. And they opened a store in the mid 2000s. They struggled. There was not enough money coming in, so because they were friends with the French local avant-garde scene, they were friends with Gérard Théronès, the boss of Futura, who used to come to the shop, and that's how he was a special guy. He let them reissue some of the catalog, but not everything. Same with Jeff Gilson and Palm. And that saved them, and that made them into a label. But it's a great shop. Bernard et Théo Jarrier, who was the drummer of the greatest French pop band of the 90s, Carmine, and Bernard, who was the singer guitar player in a hardcore noise band called the Weird Moves. That's their background. Théo also played in jazz. Because they were friends with Gérard Théronès, you can say that the Futura releases they have, if there is an original master tape, they had access to it. But these things don't always exist anymore. But for Palm, I don't know. I know in France the culture of needle drop from good original copies is quite common, but for the Futura reissues, if there is a master tape, they had access to it for sure. By August. I might leave it up. We'll see. So this is way more crazy. This is coming from jazz, of course, but what is this? Next is Europe America. Also on Palm, featuring who's who of the French scene with Jean-Louis Chotin, François Jeannot, André Jaume, Philippe Maté, André Atto, Alain Atto, Marc Richard, André Jaume, Jean-Charles Capon, Jacques Gilson, Pierre-Yves Sorin, Marc Richard, who's on tenor, and also George Brown on drums and Lawrence Butch Morris on cornet. This is interesting because this features compositions by Frank Lowe, Mel Valdrum, Jerry Hall, and Dizzy Gillespie, all arranged by Jeff Gilson. Jeff Gilson, he plays piano and also leads the band. He was an interesting guy. Like I never met him. He was religious. He did a few records, actually, some Christian records as well. He lived in southern France, in the southwest, if I remember correctly, but he had a studio in Paris. So this is actually live from December 23, 1976, concert à Cardin, Pierre Cardin. But apparently it was recorded at the French National Radio, Radio France. Not sure. Anyways, this is a classic record of French jazz for this period. Not my favorite of this, but it's a good, very good record. When you grew up with French jazz, like the boundaries between free jazz and regular jazz, as you can hear, they are very blurred, to say the least. But after this, we're going to my two favorite Chotin records alongside this one that we just played before. One thing that Capon taught me, or that I discovered through Capon, is how good the cello works with drums. Like a combination of drums, cello, you barely need anything more. It's the way it covers the sonic spectrum. At least for me, it works very, very well. And he did that several times on several records with different drummers or percussionists. So you'll be the judge of that in very shortly. See, his contribution on this one is, I love it because it's very subtle, it's kind of in the background. See, he's doing this duo, this dialogue with the cornet. And you got Pierre-Yves Saurin there on the bass. That was the previous one, of which we listened to one track. And now for the Jean-Charles Capon with Pierre Favre on drums and percussion. L'Univers Solitude, his first solo album. He has a couple of others later, but it's quite fun. This is a Jean-Charles Capon album, and inside you got this massive picture of Pierre Favre and this tiny, tiny picture of him. This is on Saraba Records. All Jean-Charles Capon compositions. I love the drums on that, the kind of squarey groove. Pierre Favre is an amazing drummer. That's some serious drum. one might have been reissued, I'm not sure. I think I saw the cover on the reissue. Mind you, I bought all of these when there was no perspective for any reissue of that. See how every cycle he managed to change the tones of these chimes. Yeah, that album is just fabulous. Apparently it's dedicated like L'Univers Solitude. Paul Éluard, a French poet, is named on the cover, but there's no reference to him inside. Maybe the name of the album is the name of a poem by him. Yeah. Well, wait for the next one. The next one is even more crazy. But similar in a way. It's a completely different mood. This is just mayhem. So deep. This guy can play. My God. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but is there any stuff like that coming from America in the 70s? So yeah, the fact that since I started to do these videos, the VC, etc., how the prominence of Northern American jazz is like the alpha and the omega for almost everyone. Come on. Thank you. Well, guys, do share. The more, the merrier, and the more people like it, the more I will get probably the incentive to to do more. Because this is there's no end to this. This is a record. I mean, you can spend so much time with it and have so much fun. There's so many directions. You know, jazz bums. Yeah, get stoked for that, but try to maybe get originals. They're cool. What's cool also with these European and French jazz records from the early 70s, there's only one pressing until recently. So when you get an original, it's an original. It's not like one of the originals. It's I mean, for me, I have a huge passion for these because also I know the guys. I knew Gérard Théronès from Futura, and I knew how some of his releases are elusive because stupid shit, and how he was delivering them with his bike to the distributor or the big shops in Paris. They are real artifacts of the music that is inside of it, on them. Such an elegant instrument when you can play it that well. So many colors. Yeah, this record really makes me happy. This record makes me happy, and the next one makes me lose my mind. avant-garde, but it's still also very melodic and narrative. It is not difficult. It is maybe a little bit abrasive in a way, but it's not like an assault, like a physical, philosophical assault. It is still easy. It's very playful, and you see how he puts all the keys exactly where they should be. Or yeah, it's just crazy. All right. Now a record that was never. This is Daniel Humer and Jean-Charles Capon. This is a library soundtrack. Daniel Humer on drums and effects, and Jean-Charles Capon on cello and effects. Biorhythm, fiction scenes, descriptive futurist apocalypse. Probably from between 79 and 81. If you like the Bruce Dittmas records, Yellow and the next one with the Moog drums, this is the perfect companion record to these records. There's nothing like that. I mean, the first time I heard this in the late 90s, that blew my mind. I had no idea this could exist. Daniel Humer, the drummer here, originally from Switzerland and then Paris, is also one of these names that get a little bit ignored in the US, but I mean, yeah, he's top 5 drummers in jazz history as far as I'm concerned. I love Tony Williams, but I mean, Pierre Fabre, Daniel Humer, Jacques Tolo. I put these 3 names already in my top 5 drummers in history, so. And the guy here who plays drums, he's one of the very last drummers to play with Eric Dolphy. By the way, if you like this is a very rare record. Find it. I mean, this is a record worth spending big money on. because I know there's so few copies of it, it's still fairly unknown. And yeah, that would be the kind of records that would pay. I would say it's okay to pay $200 or $300 for this. I mean, this is a silly discussion, but still. I mean, if you find it under $100, just don't overthink it. What genre is that, though? So most of the tracks, or there's like kind of two tracks on this album, and then variations on these two tracks, which makes for a very interesting listening as well. There's the pure pleasure, joy of listening to this, but there's also an analytical part, because this was a library soundtrack record, so it was not meant. This wasn't sold to audiences. It was distributed to producers for them to use or not in their productions, theater, TV, radio, movie, whatever. And then they would have to pay rights. And that was the purpose of that record. So the fact that it's called biorhythm, fiction scenes, descriptive future, apocalypse, is a way for them to try to describe the kind of atmosphere you will find in this back when it was released. Yeah. Stage and screen is the usual technical term of Discogs for library soundtracks. But it is jazz and it is electronic because it uses delays, loops, reverbs. I believe there's 2 editions of that, though. 2 different pressings from the same time. One French and one maybe Italian. I'm not sure. I remember when I found this, it was a record dealer, maybe in 1998, 99. He played this to me. That was the first time he had heard or saw that record. And I just knew, I'm not going to discuss with you. I'm just going to get it as quickly as possible from you before you realize that you want to keep this for yourself. Or you think that you can hustle me for much more money. Yeah, I played that one once before. But now I played more records from Charles Capon to give more context. Charles Capon, I believe he left us like some 10 years ago or so. But yeah, he was active up until the early 2000s. I mean, I believe he was something like in his 75, 80 when he passed. So he had a normal life. He could, so French. This is so French. You would find that kind of arrangement, like with the break there, like even in like Gainsbourg, lots of French songs, like singer-songwriter stuff. This is so typical of Faust. So yeah, there's a little more going on that record, but that's it for Jean-Charles Capon for today, at least. I have a few more records of his, but 80 is good to get like an idea. So if you guys want me to continue, sure, but tell me where to go, as usual. Yeah, so yeah, Jean-Charles Capon, my favorite records of his, I think is this Trinity, Apocalypse, the Quatuor on Palm, and Solitude, l'univers solitude, which means the universe. You know what it means. What do you mean, Alex? Comme à la radio. Oh yeah. Well, I used to have a radio show in Paris for close to 20 years, and it was every Friday evening from 7:30 to 9 in the evening. Usually, like I had guests sometimes regularly, but often it was just the new stuff I bought. And I would always try to balance that with new stuff, old stuff, and stuff that is from different side of the spectrum of music, so that there would be lots of contrast. Oh yeah, true. Lots of cross-pollination. Brigitte Fontaine, one of the two big avant-garde pop French singer, like Colette Magny and Brigitte Fontaine. Avant pop. Influenced by jazz. I don't, but yeah. It's interesting. I knew of them, and you reminded me of them. Spanish noise, experimental jazz, psychedelic band, industrial. I'm not sure they're essential to me. I haven't heard everything they've done. I've heard they have like lots of records on. I've heard a few that I thought like they were good. Okay, so one more track of Jean-Charles Capon there. I could play the other side also. But other than that, you'll have to tell me where to go if I have to continue. Hey, Mike. Oh, this. Whimsy and Whimsy. maybe half an hour more or an hour. So if you're not gonna, you guys are welcome to suggest me stuff. Otherwise, I'm just gonna play random records, more or less, and see where it goes. This is so funky, but I usually don't like funky. Scatting a little bit. Just remember, this is drums and cello. That's it. Effects, but interesting, Eric. Okay, something quite different now. I hope you enjoyed Jean-Charles Capon, by the way. This is kind of like an improvised little feature focus on this great French jazz musician. Just made me think of that, what we were listening to. Effects on drums, reverbs and delays. I'm sure Bodo knows this very well. I love this record so much. Let's see if anyone knows this. It's from 82.
She clutches onto his protruding hips with her life. Going down, she's going over there.
Do you like it?
Very emotional.
I'm getting it on Monday.
Approaching tenderness. Outside, the weather beats a little harder than our hearts.
Ben Clark's first album.
Not even this will keep them together.
Yeah, whimsical.
She makes love. He makes time pass a little less painfully. One and the same, perhaps. This time it could be everything. It's enough reason for staying. It's enough to make you want to die. The hardest part is trying not to make a mess of it all. It's all we have to be thankful for. It's all we have to be thankful for.
Okay, something a little more abrasive.
Hello, green grass, wherever you are.
Yeah,
I
Eric,
know that
I would
spring
assume so. But you only need the first one,
can't be far away.
Storm in Heaven.
Hello, green grass, wherever you are. I know that spring can't be far away. Nestle down in a bed of leaves, nestle
Folks, it
down
was Anne Clark,
all winter long.
her first album
Nestle down
from '82.
in a bed of leaves, waiting for springtime to come. You can show your face in the warmth of the sun. Hello, green grass. Wherever you are, I know that spring can't be far away. Maple trees filled with buds and all. Maple trees soon will be filled with green leaves. Hello, green grass. Wherever you are, I know that spring can't be far away.
It's a curious little record. I got it a long time ago. I don't remember how, but I remember it being connected to Joe McPhee somehow. This is a private press. Produced by Betty James. It's from 1971. Sounds good, huh, for a 51-year-old record. I really like this cover. I would assume Alex Motoric knows something about it. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Clinton Logan. Hi Clinton, Logan. Hi Logan. Right straight down here. And so I was on my way to meet Clinton Logan in person for the first time. He was sitting in the TV room of the New Paltz nursing home in New Paltz, New York, where he has been a resident since November 1970, enjoying a baseball game. My first actual meeting with the man was through a copy of the photograph which appears on the album cover. At first sight, there appeared to me something very different about his appearance when compared with the photograph, especially his eyes. I have a preoccupation with folks' eyes because I feel that they are the gateway to the soul. And Logan's eyes seemed larger, less strained, and indicated a certain level of tranquility. Logan was born January 19, 1935. That makes him a Capricorn, approaching the Aquarius cusp. In Albany, Georgia, he was born. He lived in Beacon, New York for a while, and then came to Poughkeepsie, New York, where he got in with the wine drinkers. In relating a story about his brother, who is in prison with a life sentence, Logan said, "I drink, but when I drink, I get happy. I like to have a lot of fun. That's all I want. That's all I want to do." I was digging on how smooth and firm the skin on Logan's fingers were. They were the fingers of a young man, despite the fact that his face looked considerably older. The wine, I thought, and soon I found out about other effects of the wine drinking. Logan, I knew, was an artist. He talked about how at one point his fingers ached. The tissues in the calves of his legs grew weak and finally gave out on him, and a few of his toes were operated upon in order to help circulate the blood in his legs. He had developed diabetes. His low blood complicated matters, in addition to his leukemia. Bye, Jazz Bum. Logan's family includes his 2 daughters and his son. His pride and joy is his granddaughter by the oldest of his 2 daughters. He kept urging us to see the picture of his granddaughter on the hospital's bulletin board. His wife and he had a difficult marriage, and they finally broke up. Physically and mentally, Logan has made great strides in overcoming the things he had to overcome. Life, running the streets, is tough. And Logan's story is not too different from other black men who've participated in that life.
Wherever you are, I know that spring is not too far away. Hello, green grass, wherever you are. I know that spring is not too far away. Nestle down in a bed of leaves. Nestle down, or winter alone. Nestle down in a bed of leaves, waiting for springtime to come. And you can show your face in the warmth of the sun. Hello, green grass, wherever you are.
It's going to be one of the big releases of this year as far as I'm concerned.
Is not too far away. Maple trees filled with buds and all. Maple trees soon will be filled with green leaves, leaves, leaves. Hello, green grass, wherever you are. I know that spring is not too far away. Hello, green grass, wherever you are. I know that spring is not too far away.
And this is great. When I got this, I considered selling it because it's an expensive record. I don't remember exactly how, but again, I think it is Joe McPhee related. So that might be the reason. I often wonder how we black people can effectively deal with our brothers and sisters in the street. How can we relate with them honestly and realistically? The first step is to deal with ourselves honestly and realistically. You cannot take the yoke of someone else's neck if first you have not freed yourself. What was striking to me about Logan was the objectivity with which he talked about himself. Usually, when one talks about himself, he says all the things that are nice, or if he bothers to talk about his good and bad qualities, he only discusses himself with a select few. Logan, I feel, had reached the level where he could discuss himself honestly with anybody. I mean, this is the first step in relating brother to brother, sister to sister, black people to black people. It's like life is God and God is life, and life is a religion, a belief, and if you really believe in something, you accept the bitter with the sweet, and the hard with the easy, the positive with the negative. Only then can you deal with the truth. I left my visit with Logan a little unsure of exactly what it was that I was going to write about him. Something that I felt emanating from the man was hard to express in words. It could only be experienced. I don't even know if Logan realizes this quality, but I didn't want to sound mushy, nor did I want to come out of a sociological, psychological bag. Neither approach would have accomplished the establishment of a for real relationship and understanding among Black people in their diverse walks of life. And there are many Logans over the world. We ought not be jiving ourselves. We ought to stop romanticizing and metaphorizing and start really relating and understanding reality. We ought to be brother to brother. Denise love. So I believe that this record, the whole concept of it, is besides the little text blurb I read from the cover. This is the theme, but there's no musician name on this record. Oh, you know it, Mike. Nice. I believe the second side is more jazz, if I remember correctly. Yeah, interesting record. Very intimate.
All of which I am doing. I got.
Okay, I was wrong. So the other side is the interview.
They walked. The oldest brother was in front, walking. The younger behind, listening to his brother's feet. They hit the mud. The older brother could smell his wool cloak. He could feel the water down inside his boots. And he was thinking about 6 miles to go before we get home. How cold he was. He pulled the cloak closer around his neck and it rubbed his chin. And he murmured something. He murmured, "I'm going to save the beauty of it all." Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Love me tender, love me long, take me to your heart, for instill that I belong and will never part. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Love me tender, you love me dear. Tell me you are mine. Tell me yours are true all the year. Tell me all the times. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Exactly, like Daniel. Pretty fun track. Quite under the radar artist.
Detroit is what I love. Detroit is what I need. Detroit is where I'm from. Detroit's the air I breathe. Detroit is what I love. Detroit is what I need. Detroit is where I'm from. Detroit's the air I breathe. Detroit is what I love.
They love to tell you they're from Detroit people, huh?
Detroit's the place I'm from. Detroit's the air I breathe. Detroit is what I love. Detroit is what I need. Detroit is where I'm from. Detroit's the air I breathe. Detroit is what I love. Detroit is what I need. Detroit is what I'm from.
modern Detroit techno. Even if this is 10 years old already, but so it would be like third generation Detroit techno. Even if DJ Bone's been around for quite some time. These days, he lives with his family in the Netherlands, and he hasn't released anything in the longest time now. But he still is probably my favorite Detroit techno producer of the past 25 years. It's very minimalistic, it's very repetitive. I mean, I also love Terrence Dixon. This is different, but there is... For me, DJ Bone is basically Terrence Dixon, but with sex. With the funk. DJ Bone. From Detroit. As he made it very obvious. It's a little bit grey now, but it was a fine day. This is a white label, so there's a connection between this and John Hassel, by the way. Techno Animal is Kevin Martin and Justin Broderick. Kevin Martin from God, The Bug, and countless other projects, including many with Justin Broderick from Godflesh. Blue Angel was like a sub-label of Virgin. And in the early mid-90s, Kevin Martin was doing some art direction for Virgin, curating compilations, a series of compilations called Macro Dub Infection and Ambient Isolationism. And he did that double LP with Justin Broderick, their second Techno Animal album. The first one is on his own label, Pathological. The second one is on Virgin. It features David Tube, John Hassel, and other people. And it is. Kevin Martin was also part of the original lineup of experimental audio research with Sonic Boom from the Spaceman Free and Kevin Shields from My Bully Valentine, with Betty Prévost from AMM, amongst others. And this EP, the Babylon Seeker EP, is the closest you get on vinyl to the double CD album Re-Entry of Techno Animal, which is... I get goosebumps just thinking about that album. Not really. Kind of artist, but nothing alphabetical, nothing really, yeah. Hey, Johan. I really, really, really love this record. It is a little record, like a little. It's an EP, but it's from a place in time in music history that is dear to me, and a lot of this has aged in a way I can't listen to it anymore because of the rhythms, the rhythm patterns. Well, I would love to have a straight up ambient version of this as well, but I don't mind the drums on this. It is kind of like very post William Burroughs music in the sense that like there's this deeply paranoid aspect to this, in my opinion at least. But at the same time bliss, so for me this is like Ballard, Burroughs and Ian Sinclair at the same time. And this is Flotsam Paradigm, his first EP on Hyperdub. It's like 10 years old. I haven't listened to this in years. I used to play this all the time in clubs. This is, by the way, this is King Brit under another name. King Brit from Philadelphia, I believe, who used to do some quite good acid house in the early 90s. Yeah, it was Techno Animal that was playing right now, right before Ivan. Dalek, I have one album that I like, and that's enough for me. I don't think it's a band. The concept is cool, it's nice. For those who don't know, Dalek is a hip hop band, quite unusual, noisy, psychedelic, industrial. And I think, yeah, it's good. I like to have that album. Looks like almost like a Godflesh album. Basically, yeah, you could say that Dalek is to hip hop what Godflesh is to rock. I love this. I really. The way it plays with your expectations. It is still basic, 4 to the floor, but I find this very psychedelic. Now, I absolutely adore the melody now in the background. Very Detroit. This is on Hyperdub. Lucky. I haven't made an opinion on Blackie yet. It's on my radar. For me, this is when people about like jazz techno, jazzy techno. For me, there is an element of jazz in this that I really, really appreciate more than an element. And it is drum machine music though. Okay, about 15 minutes more and then we're done for today. So if anyone has a request or direction, that's lost opportunity. No, I haven't. Yeah. That would be on CD, but let me see. So maybe not the harsh noise record I have, because most of my harsh noise has a psychedelic quality. But this is a harsh noise artist that actually, yeah, I like him very much. Which is Daniel Mencher. It's a split album with William Fowler Collins. And we're listening to the Daniel Mensch side. On this, Daniel Mensch plays pipe, organ, trumpets, tubas, trombones, electronics, and noise. Recorded and mixed throughout the summer of 2013. Lovely package, by the way. Slightly textured cover. I remember when I got this, I remember thinking that it smelled very nice. Jean-Michel Jarre, I only have his first 7-inch on a compilation. Daniel Mensch piece here is called Raised Coils of the Giant Serpent of Eternity. A little pompous. So I like Daniel Mensch approach to noise, harsh noise. How he uses traditional instruments. His approach, actually, when I think of it, is quite close to the Canadian modern classical composer Paul Dalden, who basically kind of invented maximalist music, which is basically filling every single spot and all the room, the sonic frame, but doing so with the best mixing possible. And when I say mixing, I'm not talking just about the technical aspect, but also the knowledge, the compositional knowledge, that you would hear every sound. There's not a frequency that overshadows the others, but at one point it all gets together so much that it just becomes the giant wall sound, but mixed so well that you could have a solo on top of it and that you would hear clearly as a solo. And Daniel Mensch, I believe, is not far away from that. Maybe. more psychedelic than punchy. Oh, nice. I didn't know that one was reissued, but yeah, you did good, Jazz Bumps. What's your name, by the way, Jazz Bumps? Yes. Yes. Well, I hope you will be open to stuff outside of jazz as well. That's a long way, Victor. sure what you're talking about. So if Plastic Cult Eric is still here, to remind him a little bit of his recent trip to Europe. Plastic Mode by Imperial. That is for you, Eric.
Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on.
Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on.
Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Hoo-ha. Music playing loud tonight, the firelights are out of sight. Cleopatra's trying to break the night, the swinging people in fire night. Julius Caesar is a rapping cool, Mario, Angelo, and Tony too. But I'm the master of the Zulu groove, not a jump emperor or a fire fool.
I believe there was a double CD compilation where the 6 records were compiled, except I think that you are correct that the 5th and 6th were never released on vinyl. And I had the 2 first ones. This is Solaris, and I have the other one. Shit, yeah. What don't I have? Well. Pretty crazy track, isn't it? Though, like it's a silly, like
Let's dance,
Italo disco track.
let's move on. Let's dance,
The guy with the
let's groove,
keyboard really.
let's move on. Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Let's dance, let's groove, let's move on. Hoo-ha! 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 Hoo-ha!
I keep house solo.
But they're living in the fire night.
Kind of does. It's kind of horrible, but it's pretty cool. puts me in a good mood. Yeah. Alright, folks. That's it for today. I don't know when the next time will be, but probably sooner than later. And yeah, from Charles Capon to this. Yeah, why not? Why not? It's all music. This cover is so silly. All right. Have a good day.